Hello again, everybody. Zack Attack is here with the Atakline for Wednesday, March the 20th, 2013, or as many people would like to say, today's the official first day of spring. But in Michigan, it's still winter. Typical Michigan weather. It snowed a couple days ago, may snow again, won't get very warm in the next couple days, which doesn't fare well for me and my upcoming gig this Friday at the Washington Lions Club gazebo with the East Bay Hunt will be cold again like it was last year. But I hope everyone is enjoying the first day of spring, even though in some places like Michigan, it's winter still. Now, on the entertainment news of the day, kicking off with your Billboard number ones. Well, we've been doing number one album. And last week, it was expected to be a big battle between Bon Jovi and David Bowie. Their new albums were about to debut this week, and they did. And the winner of that battle ended up being Bon Jovi. I think it's like the third straight album, studio album, debut at number one. I think Lost Highway went to number one. Soca went to number one. If I am correct, I need to double check that. I know Lost Highway did. But this is probably the third straight number one album with What About Now? And David Bowie is number two. So what we've been doing number one album, about to be kicked off next week by Justin Timberlake. He confirmed, yes, there will be a Volume 2 of 2020 Experience. Volume 2, I mentioned rumors of that happening on Monday's Atakline, and now it's true. JT confirmed it. Now, what we've been doing number one album, we still, yes, fifth week in a row, Harlem Shake. Despite down counts yet again on YouTube streaming, it's still number one. Will it ever be beaten? Well, Thrift Shop's catching up to get back at number one. So we'll see if Thrift Shop goes back to being number one next week, or will Thrift Shop be lucky again to get a sixth week at number one. So there you go. New number one album and still number one single. Now, on with some news on, well, Weezy F Baby, Lil Wayne. I mentioned him on his Atakline that he was in the hospital for having a bunch of seizures. And some were saying that it was related to drug use, yet his people kept saying that it wasn't related to drugs. It wasn't because of sipping Zizzup. And with that in mind, yesterday Lil Wayne was finally released from the hospital. He's back at home recovering smoothly, thanking all his fans on Twitter for their love and support during this time. Who knows how it will affect his promotional schedule. He's, of course, got a new album out next week. I Am Not a Human Being 2. So we'll see if he still promotes the album. I think a new video of his came out this week, promoting a new song. So there you go. Weezy F Baby out of the hospital and recovering quite well from his seizures after 6 days in the hospital. Now, speaking of people, drugs, and weed, let's end on with Rihanna. I mentioned, of course, Monday she was back on the road on the Diamonds World Tour and got a new Fox special airing on May 6th about the 7-day trip to promote her new album, Unapologetic, that took place in November when the album came out. Well, now some news came about Rihanna and her crew getting busted here in Michigan, actually. Rihanna's here in Detroit tomorrow night at Joe Louis Arena, but tonight she's in Toronto. So to travel to Toronto, they had to travel through Michigan to travel the border. They went on the Ambassador Bridge and got a little busted. According to TMZ, the first site to report this, Rihanna tour buses were stopped at the border between Michigan and Canada, and law enforcement sources tell TMZ they found weed. A total of 10 buses were stopped at the Ambassador Bridge, which separates Windsor, Detroit, and Canada. Inspectors smelled marijuana on one of the buses and infiltrated a secondary bus-to-bus search. Inspectors then brought a drug-sniffing dog, or dogs, should I say, on board, and one of them made a beeline for the couch. For a passenger, should I say, and authorities found he was in possession of pot. We are told he was cited with a civil penalty. Rihanna was not on any of the buses, so the rear headline here, they only found a small amount of marijuana on one person. Who would have think? So Rihanna's buses got searched, only found one guy having pot. And it wasn't one on him. It was one of those staff people. So there you go. Rihanna's buses got searched and got found pot. But it wasn't Rihanna. It was one of the workers. Because Rihanna, like I said, will be in Toronto tonight, Detroit tomorrow on this tour. Now, Well, Rihanna's on tour. One of her best friends, BFFs, should I say, Katy Perry, is broken up yet again with an on again, off again, on again, now off again, yet again, boyfriend, John Mayer. Dang. They break up more times than, well, any normal couple. They've been on again, like I said, on again, off again. They were like, they've been dating off and now they're off again as of now. So, and John Mayer made a tour announcement called the I Fucked Katy Tour, even though they broke up. So, it's not the real name, it's making a joke. So there you go. Katy Perry and John Mayer broke up yet again. Because of careers. They're both busy people. Even though Katy's not doing much because she's in between album cycles. Finally, after a nearly 3-year album cycle for Teenage Dream. So there you go. Now, on the news on the Stones. Finally, new update on the Stones rumors that's been flying around. Now, I said about 2 weeks ago that the Stones were rumored to put on a 18-day arena tour this spring, where new Pacifics and new promoters have been announced. Now, rumored now. Now, I mentioned that these tour was supposed to be promoted by Virgin Live, a new promotional company. Well, I just found out that the Stones' rumored tour will take place around May and June. Will be announced in early April and be promoted by AEG Live instead of the supposed Virgin Live. And now a broker site saying they're going to sell tickets. Officially, like a broker site for Stones tickets. So, rumors are buying now. The last 2 weeks ago, the tour was rumored and there's not been a lot of motion. Now, with AEG Live saying they got the Stones tour and a broker site saying they're going to sell tickets to the tour, rumors are now indeed flying about the Stones definitely touring this year. What me and many fans have been wanting. And we would get no satisfaction. But now we got it. The old saying goes, you can't always get what you want. But if you try sometimes, you might find you get what you need. Well, we need the Stones live, and we're finally going to probably get it. But it's hard to believe these Stones rumors. There's a lot of Stones rumors that turn out false. But hey, when the rumors were flying about them doing shows in London and New York, they will end up being true. So, there you go. Like I said, no Pacifics yet on where they're going to travel. They're saying multiple nights in various major markets. Hopefully Detroit will be one of them. So there you go. Rolling Stones rumored tour taking place in May and June. And pending announcement early April. I hope we started up with the Stones. Now, on the news on the ACM Awards. Now, I mentioned also on Monday's Atakline that a lot of new performers have been added. Taylor Swift, Little Big Town, Eric Church, Carrie Underwood, among many others, and Jason Aldean. Now they're saying 2 new performers have been added to pay tribute to the former producer of the show, whose production company is still producing the show, but the namesake died last year. Of course, I'm referring to Dick Clark. Now they're going to pay tribute to Dick Clark with a performance and a renaming of an award. They're renaming the Artist of the Decade Award the Dick Clark Award. And 2 artists who won the last 2 Artists of the Decade Awards in the 1990s and the 2000s will be performing together for the first time to pay tribute to Dick Clark, Garth Brooks, and George Strait. 2 guys who were the top of their game in the 90s and 2000s, and for George, the 80s. So, it will be very interesting to see these 2 perform together for the first time. And they're very honored to be involved in this, to pay tribute to a great man like Dick Clark, who very supported the country industry. Garth released a statement saying he's very honored to pay tribute to Dick Clark in this way, performing with such a legend like George Strait. So there you go. ACM Awards announced a tribute performance to its producer, Dick Clark, with George Strait and Garth Brooks duetting. Now, on with TV news. Now, tonight is the final night of Modern repeats. So next week, we're finally going to get some new Modern. Hopefully be back to back to back to back. But till then, we got new episodes tonight on my other favorite comedy shows. Well, it's a reality show, but sometimes a comedy. Duck Dynasty! Saw the previews this week. They have some sort of casino night at the Duck command the center. So I cannot wait to see that. Psy hits the jackpot, apparently, from what we see in the promos. And I love this show. One of my favorite shows on TV right now. And I can't wait to see some new Double D. Double the Duck. Double the Dynasty. Duck Dynasty tonight at 9 Central. Western Time. Check your listings on A&E. That is it for the Atakline for today. See you all later. With that in mind, you've all been attacked by the news from Zach. Thank you all so much for watching. Yeah.